I'm Ken Moore, and I'm visiting today with Andy Vangilder. And Andy is an agriculture and natural resources extension educator for the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture. And Andy is our peanut specialist here in Arkansas. Now, we're talking peanuts in Arkansas. Andy, we're well into the growing season for 2020. We had a really good production year last year, had a little bit of rain at harvest, but still had a good yield, I think, on our peanut crop. And peanuts are becoming a big deal in Arkansas, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I mean, we dodged a bullet on a lot of freezing temperatures and everything last year and ended up having a pretty decent crop, although it was a very bad harvest year. You're right.
So how many acres are we looking at now in Arkansas? We're kind of one of the top 10 producing states, I think, in the country, aren't we?
Yeah, we're a long way from being Georgia, but they run around 600,000 acres, but we're 36,000 acres, which is a good start for us.
Well, you got to have buying points. You got to have what we are now going to talk about, our own in-state shelling facility. We've had to ship our peanuts out of state to be shelled in the past, but now we've got a facility that's just about to get underway up in Jonesboro. Talk about that.
Yeah, I'm obviously not the expert on the sheller itself, but the difference we've had in the past is we have the farmers harvest the peanuts and they take them to a buying point, which is like what we might say an elevator for rice and corn and all that. And this is now they had to be shipped to another state, like to Georgia, to Texas, to be shelled, to where they can then go to the factory, like the peanut butter factory, to process peanut butter. Now we've eliminated that step. If we get this going here pretty soon, Delta Peanut has constructed a sheller in the eastern part of Jonesboro, and they're getting real close to being able to start shelling peanuts there. We were obviously hoping it to be a little sooner than this, but things happen as any time. If you build a house, you understand things take longer than you hope. And but they are within just a few weeks of getting that thing going, and therefore it's going to take a step out for a lot of the producers in this area. We're going to be able to shell our peanuts right there. Then they'll go from Jonesboro straight to the processing plant to make peanut butter, candy bars, etc.
I like what you said before. It says a real draw for a lot of peanut farmers here is that you can grow it on some of your sorriest ground. Why is that? Why can you grow peanuts on ground that might not be suitable for other things?
Well, when I say that, I should probably make clear myself. Our sandiest, poorer producing type ground than other crops is a lot of that is infested with the southern root knot nematode. And one thing that is a plus for us is peanuts are not susceptible to the southern root knot nematode. There is a root knot nematode that they have in other states that affect them. We fortunately at this time do not have that. And therefore we can grow the peanuts on this southern root knot ground. And when you're a non-host crop like that, it reduces that population of root knot. And therefore, when we come back with soybeans, cotton, especially on our cotton growers that love to grow cotton, it reduces that nematode population to the point that we're seeing yields of 100 to 200 pounds of lin increase on cotton when we rotate it back. So not only then the peanuts do real well on that ground that the cotton normally doesn't do that great on, or soybeans. The peanuts do real well. It's some of our best producing. It's well drained. We can irrigate it with a pivot or water down the middle. And what's one of the things we do better than some states is irrigate our peanuts. Some states don't have that much irrigation, and therefore we do have that advantage of growing well irrigated, well-produced peanuts and making high yields as much as 3 tons plus. We averaged around 2.5 tons or better last year, and a lot of those fields made 3.5 tons, and we're hoping to do that again.
And we're starting to grow peanuts, as we reported last year, south of Interstate 40 down in Lee County, because they've got their own buying point down there now. And so they've got the infrastructure, they've got the storage facilities, and now we've got a shelling facility that's going to be going online here very, very soon up in Jonesboro, as you said. So what's the future for peanut production in Arkansas?
We just have to kind of wait and see. But like you said, now they've been growing them down in Marianna for several years now. They just didn't have that buying point now. Now they have the buying point right there where the producer can just deliver them locally. We've got some in very southeast Arkansas going in, a few acres, and they'll come up probably to that area. But we still have a lot of acreage of ground that could be put in peanuts. We have some new growers in Clay County this year that we hadn't grown them on the eastern side very much, only a few acres. And if that goes well, we may see that acreage increase. So far, looking good up there.
And the price is right now for peanut growers because prices have kind of been depressed for some of our grain crops, but peanut prices, as I understand it, are still pretty good.
They're pretty good. You know, they are not as good as they have been in the past, but they are pretty good compared to other crops right now. As far as a return to investment, they're probably the best crop we do have right now. You obviously do have to invest in only peanut equipment. That's all you can do with it is harvest peanuts and dig peanuts. But even with that, paying the price of the equipment, we're looking at making a pretty good profit on peanuts depending on your yield. They're in that $400 to $450 a ton range, and so there's profit potential of $300 to $500 an acre there to pay your rent and still have money left over. And there's been some years when it was higher than that, but right now it is profitable if we get them out of the ground. As we've talked before, we got to get them out of the ground. They are a little more risky crop. Getting a wet fall is not something we want to see.
Indeed, and we're only about a month away. They can start coming out. You have to, dig them up first, let them dry out, and then you actually get the harvesters in to get them out of the ground and store them to the buying points. But nonetheless, it is a process, and a lot of our cotton growers are finding that to be a very favorable crop to grow in rotation.
That is correct. They're really liking that. We'll probably be more into September. We got quite a bit of later planting this year, and there may be some peanuts down in Louisiana that come up this way that get harvested in August. But I figure we'll be more the very last of August, early September before we'll start getting into them. But and then the majority of the crop will probably be later than that. But it'll be here before you know it. We need to be getting ready for it and getting ready to dig the peanuts. And that's right. We're going to dig them. Generally, you wait a couple, 3 days, let them dry, and then the combine will come along, combine them, and we put them on a peanut truck that has has a perforated floor that lets when they take them to the bind point, they'll put a big fan on them and dry them to the moisture, the content that they can store them, and then they'll dump them in the warehouse. And that's pretty much how the process works.
Well, thank you for explaining that for us, Andy, and giving us an update on what the crop is looking like here in 2020. It's exciting to talk about a crop that farmers are kind of getting excited about growing.
That's right. It's an interesting crop, and we've got a lot of good guys doing real well.